Welcome to Point Row Group's Ask the Expert series, where we talk to experts about topics relating to personal branding and professional development. Today, we're speaking with my good friend, Arielle Lapiano, about managing a side hustle, or side gig as we used to call it. In her day job, Arielle is the Director of Communications and PR for a global law firm called Hastings, and she's also the founder and CEO of social enterprises Shattered Glass Teas and Shattered Glass Corp, which empower women and girls through workshops that drive confidence and communication skills, and t-shirt sales to fund charities that empower girls. Great to have you with us today, Arielle.
Thank you so much. Really happy to be here.
So let's jump right in. Why did you decide to pursue your passion as a side gig rather than quit your day job and do it full time?
Well, for me, it's really because it was a passion project, and it was a pure passion project rather than a purse project, let's say, right? For me, it was really about finding a way to give back to the charities that I was working with and not about supplementing my income. So the way for me to do it and make the most sense was obviously going to be the side hustle, side gig route.
What are some tips that you have to successfully balance the priorities of that day job, so to speak, and this business?
Thanks. So I'm going to give you 3 key tips that I think are really critical to helping. The first one is to build a wall. And what I mean by that is to have really firm boundaries. I think without good boundaries, you just will run yourself ragged. So for me, it's really been keeping the day job a day job as much as possible. That's not to say that there aren't weekends I find myself working for the day job or late evenings, but as much as possible, I really try to be really efficient with my time. Same concept with the side gig. I keep it on the side. I do it late at night, early in the morning, and on the weekends. And I feel like having that clear separation for my life has made it way easier. So building a wall has been really a butt saver, shall we say. The second thing is to dream big, but think small. And so or act small. And I know that doesn't sound very positive, but it is. So what I mean there is that I think particularly when people have these side gigs that are passion fueled, it's really easy for your dream to overtake you and for it to almost feel overwhelming and get lost in it. And I think that sometimes the dream can almost make you feel like just giving up. Like I'm not reaching that dream still. So what I've done for myself and try to do with like my friends too, is like, just remind me again why I'm doing this, and try to always think of what's the next small little baby step. What's this next small little thing? So you still have the big picture dream, but keeping it small has been really helpful to me. It's sort of like, I imagine like my grandmother like yelling at me, telling me, just like take small little bites, like, like
same thing to me.
Exactly. Like, I know I make good cake, but please, like one bite at a time. So it's the same sort of philosophy with the side gig. And then the third big key for me has been to really treasure my time. So I tell people, treasure your time. I try to be really smart about managing my time at the day job. Again, it goes back, it's very complementary to building the wall and having good boundaries. The other thing is I am absolutely obsessed with planners and planning. I have like this one right on my desk here. I've got like another one here. I've got notebooks everywhere. But planning is really, to me, another part of that, treasuring your time, to have a plan for every day. Right. Know what you want to accomplish, know what's important. Some people talk about, right, carpe diem, and I think it's really important to seize the day. And part of that, I'd say, is also seizing the schedule.
That's great. Okay, so I have a follow-up question then.
Okay.
So schedule, planning, all that is great. But now that most of us are working from home and staying home, how has that impacted all the plans on the working on your passion in the morning, at night, on weekends?
Easy peasy. No. No, it's awful. It's awful. It's made everything just so much more challenging. For me personally too, I've got 2 school-age kids that are going to school part-time, which means they're home part-time. I think it's a lot harder. But here's also the interesting thing. All the things that I talked about, the boundaries, the being more efficient with your time, the planning your day, those are things that not only have helped me with my side gigs, they've just helped me to survive, not go completely insane, just partially insane during the pandemic. So those things are definitely going to be harder to do, but I also would argue that those are the types of things that are going to help life feel a little bit easier now as well.
It certainly helps me. So I totally get it.
Yeah.
So, we focus on personal branding. It's something that I'm moderately obsessed about. And your personal brand is, all of who you are, every aspect. So your personal brand reflects your day job and your passion project. So what branding challenges do you have when you're kind of representing yourself and, from both perspectives?
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting question. And it's particularly interesting to me because my brands, I'd say, are very different in some ways on the face of it. So working in a very corporate environment during the day for a law firm, which is very risk averse by its nature, versus having this side business that is all about sort of pushing boundaries a little bit in some of what we do. And then also, I also recently started writing, and I write about career, and I write about wellness and all the challenges of parenting. And those things are inherently so much more risky than what the day job is. But the thing that I realized is that I am still the same, right? So I used to think if you talked to me a couple of years ago when I was thinking about starting this, I felt like there's no way I can do this in a way, right? My brand is so different. My personal brand, my company brand is so different from my law firm's brand. And I was really nervous about it. But what I realized, probably with the help of some friends like you and other people, is that when I thought about what my values are, when I thought about what my personal brand is, that's cool. I can bring that to work. And if in fact, I needed to bring more of who I was, more of my authentic brand to work. And that's been, like I said, it's been the most fascinating thing to me about the side business, is because I have the side business, I all of a sudden realized, wait a second, I'm staying in this little box at the day job. I could be doing more. And I started doing more at the day job. So all of a sudden, I'm finding a way to help women entrepreneurs, and we're doing a holiday shop at the day job, not strictly part of my job, but something completely different, but totally in line with my brand, right?
What about LinkedIn? Has that, because I know, overall use of LinkedIn for everybody, for every reason, has increased tremendously. But what about for you? Does it, has your use of that changed, over time, just generally over time? It doesn't have to be specifically part of the pandemic, but how have you used that? Because that's one of the things that we hear all the time, people who have their, primary job and then they're doing something on the side, that they find it challenging, kind of to your point earlier about, well, I'm 2 people, but I can I seem to be 2 people, but I'm really the same. It's all alignment, and I can communicate that, or I try to communicate that on LinkedIn. Do you do that? Do you use it as a tool at all? Or do you use it just really for one channel?
I am multi-channel when it comes to LinkedIn. I link in many different ways. And again, I'm not saying that that's easy, and I can't like remember exactly what I did at first, but I do remember, again, if I just go back 10 years ago, let's say, and think about what I thought of LinkedIn then, I thought LinkedIn was something you use to professionally like advance the professional side of you. And I think what I've tried to do is, again, going back to this concept of branding, is I try to bring my whole self to LinkedIn. So it's that being holy with LinkedIn too. It's where I actually have probably the most engagement in terms of like followers. I was on LinkedIn before I was on, I think, any other social media. So that's motivated me to, again, be very true to who I am. So I actually have been surprised with how many friends or colleagues I know that have side businesses that don't take advantage of that on LinkedIn. So, friends that might have, a side soap business, a side yoga business, but you look and it just talks about how they're an investment banker. And I would encourage everybody to broaden the way they're defining themselves. And I definitely have done that. I share some of the articles that I write there too. So I try to use LinkedIn in a couple of different ways to really honestly represent everything I'm doing. And that's been really helpful to me too.
I think that's amazing. And, when I think back to when I started and when my company was a side hustle, and I remember struggling with that on LinkedIn. Well, should I, shouldn't I? I was in a more conservative role. And then I said, to your point, you got to be who you are. You want people to know who you are. And ultimately it will help both parts of who you are professionally. If you do it well and you do it right.
I think you're right. And I think it's also amazing how many opportunities that can open up. So, again, to me, one of like the big lessons I learned from starting the side business is I wish I told more people sooner about it, because you never know like how many different people can help you in different ways. And so LinkedIn is sort of this other great opportunity you have to share with a community that you already possess that you're doing something different.
That's an excellent point. We should highlight that exclamation point, underline, bold. Well, thank you so much, Arielle, for sharing your expertise with us for Point Road Group's Ask the Expert series. It's always a blast talking to you. You can check out this conversation as well as those with experts in other areas on our website at pointroadgroup.com/asktheexperts. Take care, everyone.